Well, the Penguin concluded, and concluded very well in that it didn't take a sudden wild turn and screw up all the great performances that it delivered in the preceding episode. So that's a solid run, and of course, when something's as successful as that, you'd like a follow-up, but apparently that'll have to go into the Batman Part 2, which I hope they learned something from the crew that handled the Penguin rather than what went on with the Batman, which was very disappointing for me. You know, the atmospherics and everything was fine and really good at points, and that carries on through this show. But man, the people behind this show are infinitely superior to what happened in the film. And I know Matt Reeves was involved, but he was not, the full guy in charge here. And if that approach and credibility to the plots and what have you is what the Batman Part 2 would have, then holy crap, you would have a massive hit, in my opinion. I think it would do a lot better. Of course, you'd have to up the action and whatnot as expected for a superhero film and that sort of thing, whereas this is this crime drama that still had a lot of action in it, especially in this one. There was quite a bit of that, but it was all the strategy and moves that were made in this power play that sprawled out, along with the awful tragedies and terrible suffering and just complete evil. So this is a character study of a Batman villain, and more to the point, within that world. You had the Joker film, the original. The second one pooped the bed, and what are you gonna do? But the original was well done and it was interesting. But it's obviously so far removed from the Batman story that it's not a complete study of the Joker. If you could do, even grounded as this one was, a Joker story, and but with the Joker film being done the way it was and going forward, I don't know that they would revisit that. But oddly enough, because after what the Joker, to the Foley, whatever the hell, I don't even care. It was so bad. And at the same time, you've got this other Batman villain just firing on all cylinders, and it's the Penguin, and the Penguin was, is kind of mocked and made fun of, which plays in to who this guy is, and yet also just how wicked and evil this man is. And that is maintained, and it just goes to show, just what an awful piece of crap Oswald Cobblepot really is. And it's one of those things is that, now I really want Batman to come and beat the living shit out of this bastard. And he deserves it. So, I mean, he has to be a major villain for the sequel with what this has wrought. But it unto itself, yes, it is a solid show. There's all the performances were great. Nothing really left me thinking, they could have done this, they could have done that. And they come close to the edge of the big shocking reveal about the Penguin's past and his mother and all that, and of course his brothers, and how that unravels. But it's fitting within the ultimate revenge plot that Sophia is working on, and she tells her doctor boyfriend there that, I want to hurt him like I've been hurt. And of course, what happened to her is that she was, just destroyed to her very core, which is more of what her father did to her. But, Oz was there. Not that he really could have done a whole lot if he had wanted to. he just would have been killed. Her brother, of course, could visit her and care about her, which he did. But he's family. He's got a certain amount of protection there, and was the heir apparent when she was thrown to Arkham, and so on and so forth. So, but still, and then he's the one, and she initially suspects him of killing her brother, and then he convinces her, manipulates her into thinking it wasn't him. Then later, damn it was him. And now, so, the war is on, and so on and so forth. But it is a war, and you have to win it. And not to spoil everything, she does it. Although there's a little something at the end which gives you more, perhaps, a clue as to what the Batman Part 2 will consist of, as far as these characters that are well solidified now. And that's the thing about this business of superhero movies, and then having either television or streaming spin-off shows here, where the show is far superior to the film. And I would guess is very necessary that if you're interested in this version of Batman, then you need to watch this show to, I would think. It's homework. It's not a great idea overall. The movie would have to be able to encapsulate itself within its own narrative. But for the better approach and for appreciation of it, yeah, you would need to see this show. Of course, the overall approach to this idea would be to keep it as contained as much as possible, so that the average moviegoer can appreciate the film without having ever seen the TV show and that sort of thing. But in this case, it's this odd thing, because for the most part, the shows are not as good as the films were for these superhero endeavors. And yet this one is very much the opposite. So, it's interesting and all that. But ultimately, Penguin was a sick mama's boy, really creepily so, and there's no doubt about it at the end. Good Lord. And as a character study of a villain, you have to understand there's no heroes here. Of course, the hero is Batman, who is completely absent, which, if there is a flaw, it is that. And at the very least, some more mention of him. And also, it begs the question, because, things keep escalating as this war over, who rules the crime of Gotham. And Batman doesn't show up. He doesn't look into it. It's... at the end of the first movie, he's fine. He wasn't so severely injured that he was going to need a while to recover or something like that. He wasn't. He was saving people from the disaster and all that. He's not saving anybody from the disaster that happens here. And it's not as big as the flood that the Riddler did, but it's pretty devastating as what happens. And, no Batman. Until the very end, you get the bat signal. Okay. And another character sends a letter, and okay. But, it's the one a flaw in it, in that the overall narrative is that world. These are the same characters that were in the film. This is the world of Batman, and he's just not there. And unless the film's got to explain that he, went overseas for further training or something, maybe. And that was the deal. He wasn't in the city. But there again, it could have been some mention of Bruce Wayne's out of town, on some trip. Of course, a lot of times Bruce Wayne would have some announcement like that be posted when he's not out of town. He's right there. He's just being Batman full time, that kind of thing. But now, nothing was really done about that. And for quite a few episodes, it's like, yeah, you don't really need to. But man, when this thing, like I said, escalated, it's odd. Yeah. But other than that, really damn good show. Very impressive overall. And I can't praise it enough, really. Which, a lot of shows will let you down these days. And there's only a handful. And some of them are like they're basically they're adequate and they're fun. And so it seems greater than it probably really is, but everything else is so crappy that it comes across that way. In this case, it's a cut above that quite a bit. So, and Colin Farrell, awards don't mean anything. If only they did, he would certainly deserve it. And be stuck, buried in that god-awful suit. Yeah, he really gave a masterful performance, playing this horrible, evil bastard. Yeah, I mean, there's some plays in there in the episodes where you had some amount of sympathy for him almost, and yet, don't fall for that. Because at least, Sophia, initially, she was innocent. I mean, she loved her father, and certainly found out that was quite a mistake, But she is destroyed and made evil by the cesspool of evil she lived in, But at least at one time, there could have been some chance for her to be a decent human being. With Oz, it looks like it was never there. So, but, that makes him a great villain you love to hate. And we'll really enjoy it if Batman brings the hammer down on him in the movie. And perhaps that's where they'll go with it. Anyway, there we go. A well-rounded production for The Penguin. And what a triumphant move it was, coming out of a particular iteration of a franchise that I just was very disappointed in. But hopefully the Batman 2 will follow suit of this series and find its way to greatness.